So just last week I did a video covering some of the best early abilities you can unlock in Star Wars Outlaws. You guys seem to love that, and with the end of the game having even more awesome abilities that you can get your hands on, today I wanted to run you through the best mid to late game abilities that you definitely shouldn't sleep on. Now I will say before we get into it, there are 2 to 3 experts in the mid to late game of Star Wars Outlaws who could be considered spoilers. Now Ubisoft have had all of them in the trailers and stuff leading up to the game, so I don't really consider them spoilers. We've seen them in the marketing material, but I just thought I'd throw in a spoiler warning. If you guys have gone in blind to this game and you don't want to know any characters who pop up, then I thought I would just throw that in there as a bit of a warning. So like I said, consider yourself warned. With that being said though, let's get stuck into some of these awesome abilities and how to unlock them. Now for all of these experts, except for the final one who is actually a hidden expert that most people won't know about, I'm not going to actually show you guys how to find these experts in the first place. So if you haven't met them yet and you're not too sure how to actually meet these experts, simply just playing the main storyline will slowly introduce all of these characters either directly through the main story, or it will kind of prompt you that, hey, there is a side mission here that will unlock an expert. So every single expert in this video is pretty much impossible to miss except for the final one, like I said, but I'll actually explain how to meet that expert. Now, the first 2 abilities we're going to go through are from Temin, who is the scavenger expert that you meet on Akiva. Since we're already talking about spoilers, if you guys didn't know, this is actually Snap Wexley from the sequel trilogy, so I thought that was a pretty cool touch. Now, the first ability we're going to talk about is the survivor ability. This just increases your max health and it is very, very handy for the end game. And realistically, it is pretty damn easy to get this one done. Now, the first thing you need to do is defeat 3 death troopers in a row, which to be honest isn't that easy, but it's just very easy to acquire compared to some of the other abilities in the game. And it does say in the ability description that it needs to be 3 death troopers in a row. It doesn't need to be in a row. This is just in a single life. So for example, if you kill 2 death troopers and then you kill a regular stormtrooper, that doesn't ruin the streak. If you then go on and kill the final death trooper, that will still count. So it doesn't have to be in a row, even though it says that it does. Now, how to, I guess, invoke the death troopers into chasing you, you need to get your wanted level with the Empire to level 6 in order to call in the death troopers. Not only will they call in some to your immediate location, at least in most cases anyway, but usually that is only about 2. So you're essentially going to need to find more death troopers. Now, once they call the death troopers in though, they will be marked on the map for you guys. They actually set up a field base and are permanently hunting you down until you go and pretty much take out those death troopers. So you just need to head to that field base. It'll be marked on the map in red, and you essentially just need to kill all of the death troopers and the stormtroopers there, as well as the ISB agent, and that will allow you to remove your wanted level. Plus obviously you will have killed 3 death troopers by then, which is obviously what we're trying to achieve for this ability. Now the final thing you need to do to get this survivor ability is find the stranded merchant on Akiva. This one is very easy to find. It is at this sort of island out on the lake over to the left of Akiva, and it is the island with the big wreckage of some sort of Star Destroyer. So all you need to do is just head to the back of that little island there, and you will find this stranded merchant who is just chilling here selling stuff to apparently no one. And realistically, you just need to interact with him, and that will finally unlock the survivor ability. Now the next ability is the electroshock prod, and this one allows you to pretty much melee the death troopers, whether it's in stealth or whether you stun them. It allows you to pretty much kill them with melee, which you cannot do normally. What you'll need for this one is 15 items of Shell Copyright. You'll also need 5 ion cells, and finally you'll need a specific part, which is the NL02 charge emitter, which you can find here on the map. It is on an island pretty close actually to the island that I just mentioned. This is an Imperial base, and you just need to head into this location. You can stealth in pretty easily, and it is pretty much just in this first tent. So you can either sneak your way in there, or to be honest, you could start with this one and go in guns blazing. That'll get your wanted level up, and then that can actually help with the previous ability that I just mentioned. But either way, you'll just need to get to this tent, and in this chest you'll find what you need, and that will unlock that second ability. Now before we go any further, if you guys are new to the channel and you are interested in more Star Wars Outlaws content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There is plenty more content on the way, so make sure you don't miss out. Now like I said, we are full into spoilers here, so if you're for some reason still not wanting spoilers and you're still watching the video, I would probably recommend clicking off right now, because the next expert is the one that I was sort of referring to as a bit of a spoiler. This expert is Lando Calrissian, and the ability that he gives you is called Shoot First, which pretty much just ups the damage from any hip fire that you do in the first engagement. It just means if you're walking along and you're not actually in combat, and then you shoot someone from the hip, it is pretty much a one-hit kill. Now this one is very, very easy to get. 2 of the requirements are to do with Sabak, and then one of them is is actually just killing 10 enemies with hipfire. So this one's very easy. And again, you can probably just do that while you're fighting all the Imperials and stuff that I mentioned in the previous 2 abilities. As for these Sabak ones, you'll need to win Sabak games after cheating 3 times. Now that can be 1 cheat per individual match and winning 3 games, or you can just do it all in the single game. That's what I did. It's just the easiest way to do that. So I'd recommend just cheating as many times as you can in a game, and then if you win that game, you will get that one done. Lastly, you'll then also need to defeat Sabak high rollers 2 times. Now to do this, you'll pretty much just need to start the Sabak quest line that you'll get very early on in the game. I'm sure pretty much all of you will have this in your quest log. Dunker gives this to you within maybe the first 2 hours of the game, and she invites you to a bit of a high roller match. Once you win that match, she'll then invite you to an actual high roller match, which is against Bosnok, and you can find it here in Miragana. It's very easy to find. All you need to do is just enter through this back section, and you just swing across the gap here and enter through the back door, and that will allow you to play in that high roller game. Now luckily you don't have to beat 2 different high rollers. You can just beat Bosnok twice, and if you can beat him once, you can definitely beat him twice. Now if you guys are stuck playing Sabak, I do have a full Sabak guide as well as all of the cheats and all the best shift tokens and stuff. So if this one is giving you a bit of trouble, be sure to go and check that video out, as I'm gonna guarantee you if you watch that video, you'll probably win your first game and essentially every game after that. Once you do all of those though, you will get that shoot first ability, and this one is definitely very fun to use. Now next up we have an ability from Tika, who is the Jawa. For those of you who didn't know, this is actually the same Jawa from Obi-Wan, which I thought was pretty cool. This ability is the enhanced Bacta injector ability, and allows you to pretty much just regen health faster with the Bacta vials. When you inject that vial, it will just kind of give you 1 health bar straight away, which is very, very handy. This one's pretty damn easy as well. You'll just need 15 transparasteel, you'll need 6 helicyclic gears, and all of those are things that can be found pretty easily throughout the world, as well as at different vendors. And then lastly, you'll just need a specific item, which is the burst injector. It's pretty easy to find. You just need to head to this location on the map on Tatooine. The easiest way to access it is from the Bestine direction, as you can find this jump here that kind of gets you into that area. And then once you arrive in kind of the center of this little sand waterfall, as Kay refers to it as, you can just climb these cliffs over to the left. Now at the top, there will be a Jawa that you can just trade some parts with in order to get the burst injector. And once you get that, you will be able to unlock that ability. Now next up, we have an ability called Resilient. This is from Quint, who is the gunslinger, and this one increases your max health. I will also say that for the next ability too, that one also increases your max health. So throughout this video, there will be 3 abilities that will increase your max health, and trust me, for late game, this is super clutch, especially on those higher difficulties. Now I'll also say this one is kind of best to do while you're doing those Temen ones that I mentioned earlier, because it will involve the Imperials. So while you're off, getting your wanted level high and stuff like that, you may as well do this one at the same time. What you need to do is defeat 10 Imperial enemies in a row while at wanted level 3 or higher. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean in a row. If you killed a pike in the middle of that, it doesn't interrupt the streak. It just needs to be 10 Imperials in 1 life at a wanted level 3 or higher. You'll also need to defeat 5 enemies in a row at 1 health. Now with this one, I do think it needs to be actually in a row. You can't heal as far as I'm aware. So the best thing to do is just to get to 1 health, kind of let the enemies shoot you. Once you have 1 health bar left, make sure you don't heal and just play it really safe, hide behind cover, make the most of grenades, use your ion shots to kind of shoot the enemies, and then they won't shoot back at you, and you can just kind of pop out from cover and kill them, and hell, even use nicks as well. So this one sounds really hard on paper, and it can be a little bit overwhelming if there's heaps of enemies coming at you and you've got 1 health, but it's actually not too hard once you sit there and do it. Now finally, we have got the improvise ability, and this is from the hidden expert called MT7, who is a BX commando droid, and this guy is completely hidden. He does not show up in the ability menu. The rest of them all have question marks, which show that there is someone there you can unlock. This is the guy in the middle that doesn't have a question mark because he is completely missable in Star Wars Outlaws. Now, obviously, to get this ability, you need to unlock him first, and there is a bit of a quest line to this, so let me run you guys through that. Firstly, you need to head to Akiva orbit, and you need to search around the large asteroid for these smaller yellow containers that are floating around. It's not the long yellow containers or the yellow ones with this sort of red on them that can be blown up. These are not the right ones. You need to get the small yellow containers, and you need to go around and open them. Now, there is at least 3 to 4 of these in the Akiva orbit. Once you find as many as you can, you just need to head to other planets and look for them in orbit too. As far as I'm aware, there is 16 of these floating around throughout this entire game. But the good thing is you only need 5. And like I said, there are an easy 3 to 4 in Akiva. There are plenty in the Nebula near Kijimi as well. And then at least 1, I believe, in the Hut territory in Tatooine Orbit 2. But I would recommend just doing Akiva and then Kijimi. Now, all you need is 5, like I said, and then once you get 5, there will be some sort of audio cue from ND5 that's something along the lines of the fact that he can now pinpoint the location of the transmissions, and that is pretty much all you need to do to kind of start this quest line. The other thing you'll need to do though is make sure you are far enough along through the main story. You'll need to be past the Viper main mission. I'm not going to spoil the mission obviously or anything to do with the main story, but if you guys have played the story, you'll probably know if you are up to that part or not, just based on the name of that mission. Now, like I said, this is a main mission, so you cannot miss it. If you haven't done this yet, you'll just need to progress through the story until you've done that mission, and after the Viper mission is complete, you can then access a new landing pad on Akiva that you couldn't access before. So just go into orbit, land here, and then you can walk out of the Trailblazer and you'll find MT7 over on the right, and that will kickstart this quest line. Now, I'm not going to hold your hand through it as it is fairly straightforward and it's probably a good 20 or so minutes, so I'm not going to waste your time in this video, but eventually you will finish that MT7 quest line, which I'll be honest is just awesome anyway. I would recommend doing it. It has some really cool like Clone Wars references that you guys will love. And obviously, once you complete it, MT7 is available as an expert. Now, once you've unlocked him, you'll finally be able to unlock the improvised ability, which once again increases K's max health. This one is very easy. All you need to do is defeat 5 enemies using the environment. So pretty much just shooting barrels when they're close to them. We'll get that done, and it's pretty damn easy. Lastly, you'll also need to find 3 hideouts, which are any of these locations on any of the maps in the game, which have a sort of eye icon as the marker. As you can see, it says hideout when you hover over them. So you just need to find 3 of these. They can be found pretty regularly throughout Toshara, Akiva, and Tatooine. I don't think there are any on Kijimi because it's obviously a smaller map, but there are plenty of these throughout Toshara, Akiva, and Tatooine. And the good thing is if you've found 3 of these already before you've even started this, those will count as well. So luckily, if you've found a few of these, you'll probably have this done before you even start. Once you get those 3 though, you will finally unlock that improvised ability, and again that will increase your max health, which like I mentioned earlier is massive when it comes to getting through the end game because there is a lot of combat in the final sort of third of the main story. But that is it for some of the best mid to late game abilities that are definitely missable, especially like I said, the MT7 one. That is completely missable. I think honestly 90% of people who play this game will never even find that expert. And so hopefully this helped you guys out. If it did, be sure to leave a like down below. And like I said, if you are new to the channel and you want to see some more Star Wars Outlaws content, be sure to subscribe as there is plenty more stuff on the way. With that being said though, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day and may the Force be with you always.